I just wanted to say hello and thank you so much for everyone just taking the time to join our Meet a Poet Monday virtual series. As a reminder, as always, this episode is being recorded, so please remember to keep your microphone muted. And we also hope that the Zoom meeting just serves as a way for you to connect with a current student and hear about their poet experience live. Please be sure to ask our student questions throughout this session by unmuting your microphone or by using the chat box feature to write your questions, and I'll be sure to read them out loud for you. So to start, my name is Chelsea Spear, and I'm the Assistant Director of Annual Giving at Whittier College. I'll be hosting the series. I also have Alex Popescu, the Director of Development. He's assisting me with all of the behind-the-scenes work, so don't be alarmed if you hear him chime in at any point. And also, just thank you so much, again, just for making this a part of your Monday virtual routine. So to start, let me introduce you to our third-year STEM student, Alondra Martinez, class of 2021. Hi, Alondra. How are you today? Oh, you're muted, Alondra.
Sorry.
How are you?
Hi, I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Great, we're so happy to have you. And just thank you for your presence. I know this next week's pretty busy for you. I know finals are happening at the end of this week, so just thank you again so much for taking that time for us. So can you please tell our audience a little bit about yourself and why you chose Whittier College?
So, I'm Alondra Martinez. I was born and raised in Los Angeles. I've lived there my whole life, and I'm a first-generation student. I come from Latino parents, so I will be the first to graduate college in my family. And a little bit about why I chose Whittier. Whittier College was actually my second choice. I was accepted into my first choice, Hofstra University. But Hofstra was a bigger campus. It was only focused on pre-med and everything, which is something I liked that I was trying to fall into. But what differed from Whittier was not only their financial aid package, it was also the campus and the one-on-one experience that it had. So Whittier College was such a beautiful campus, and I have heard of Whittier before through a family member friend. And she went there, she created her own major through WSP. And I kind of like that. I was like, well, at Whittier College, I could be my own. Whereas going to Hofstra, which was my number one choice, I had to be what they wanted me to be in a way, which was just pre-med. And coming to Whittier College, actually, it changed me a lot. I changed my course of direction a lot. So I really liked it. Just having one-on-one, and then all the research experience you could get there too was nothing compared to the other university.
Oh, I'm happy that Whittier, even though it wasn't your first choice, became the best choice. So thank you. Let's tell our audience maybe what you're currently studying and what are some of your current aspirations.
So I am currently a double major. I'm majoring in biology and Spanish. Fun fact, I was only planning on minoring in Spanish until I was told that I could major in it with just 4 classes, including senior SAM. So I was like, oh, that's great. And not only that, my Spanish major got rid of a lot of lib eds. So my Spanish major allowed me to have more time for my biology major. And biology, well, like I mentioned, I was currently in freshman year. I was thinking about pre-med and everything. And then as I went further into the school year, I started seeing more options, more classes open up, more things that I was actually falling in love and falling out of love with pre-med. So throughout the years of biology, I learned what I actually do love about biology. What is it that I actually enjoy? And through that, now I'm aspiring to be either, I know I want to work in a hospital or work with a hospital. So I'm either thinking of a master's in public health or going back into a bachelor's in nursing right after college. A master's in public health, there's so many options that I could work with that I would love. So I could also, with a master's in public health, I could get, be a research nurse or epidemiologist or stuff like that. It's careers that I would love to have. And with a bachelor's in nursing, after getting my bachelor's in nursing, I could work at a hospital while working with my master's in nursing as well, and hopefully leading up to getting a doctorate in nursing. So it's two options that I'm still hand in hand debating. I'm only a junior. So those two options are going to have to come to a decision by the end in 1 year. But yeah, that's what I aspire to be, work with a hospital. I work with people. I love working with people, and I want to help people too.
Wow, that's so incredible, Alondra. I hope that through your senior year, you'll be able to make the right choice for you. But I know that whichever choice you make, we definitely need people like you in both of those career paths. So thank you so much for considering that. And kind of talking about some classes you've taken at Whittier, do you have maybe a favorite or a most challenging class that you've taken so far?
My favorite and most challenging class would be immunology with Dr. Vetrone. So immunology, it was difficult because not only do you have to memorize every single little cell or process that happens in your immune system, you also learn how the body handles diseases like the flu, the cold. So it's pretty interesting to see how your body's actually working. You don't think all these little things are happening in your body, you know? We all know we're composed of cells and everything. But learning further beyond like the functions, I love that. And I also love that that class came with a lot more hands-on activities during lab, which a lot of biology classes don't come with. So it was something different, and like Dr. Bertrand was always there to help us understand the class, to guide us through further advanced techniques to use in lab. And she was always flexible enough with how we wanted to learn from her. So her teaching skills varied from PowerPoints to like visuals and everything, just to accommodate how we would want to learn.
Nice. I'm glad you got to experience Dr. Patron's class. I've actually heard a lot of great things about her. So I'm glad you were able to experience her in your time here. Has there been maybe an interesting class that you've taken outside of your major?
Yeah, so currently right now this semester I'm taking Intro to Ethics. It's a philosophy class. And I'm gonna be honest, when I signed up for that class last fall, I dreaded having to take that class. I was like, philosophy is not something I want to do. It's not like philosophy is so boring. I've heard from my friends who take philosophy classes, like all the papers they would have to write in a certain tone and everything. I'm like, I'm so used to writing in a scientific tone, so that was something different. But first day when I sat down in class, Professor Rodriguez came in with all this energy, and he was like, all right, let's get into it. And he started talking about all these topics, jumping around these ideas and everything that was way different from what you expect in a philosophy class. So there was no mentioning of Aristotle, Plato, or stuff like that. It was just, what's our society? And I walked out of that class the first day saying, this man's going to change my way of thinking. And now that I'm actually culminating the class, we ended it with this book called The World Could Be Otherwise. And it's a kind of a spiritual book that guides you through the Buddhist ways. And that book changed my mind. I was mind blown by how much a book could influence the way you think. And I went from dreading this class to actually loving it and wishing there was like another semester to it or something, because it makes you more zen. It makes you more reflect on yourself more in a non-selfish way. And I like that.
Nice. I'm definitely going to contact you after this to get the name of that book again so I can get it. Sounds great. I'm glad you enjoyed that class. What about clubs or organizations? Have you been a part of any during your time at Whittier?
Mostly through work and like school. I don't really jump around clubs, but I've been a part of Pre-Health Club and ASAP. What I like about my favorite club would be ASAP. I completely forgot and blanked on the acronym again, but it's helping advanced students in the STEM field. And they try to connect you with internships, shadowing possibilities, and they're not so pre-med focused. Like their focus is pre-med and trying to get you to a med school. But if you're outside the pre-med field, like I am, they help you get the satisfaction of learning more about your field, bringing in people that they know could help you understand the field you want to go into more. And it's also a lot of first generation students in that club. So they're kind of like a support system that you could fall onto if you need someone to be there for you, someone to talk to, someone to just lift your spirits. So ASAP not only helps you connect with other people, but it helps you like keep going. It motivates you.
Nice. Sounds like a great community to be a part of. Let's talk about STEM a little bit. How has it been being a part of that program?
Uh, Being part of STEM has been something that's become less scary by the years. Um, I actually am the first and the only in my whole family to be in a STEM major. Everyone else in my family is going into like um, other social sciences that are not related to STEM. And so it's kind of lonely a bit, having no one understand what you're talking about or why you're doing what you're doing. Especially my parents, it's hard to help them understand like, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing it, this is why I'm getting out of school so late, especially that. But I've fallen in love with STEM. It's been the field that I've always wanted to work with. I was part of the STEM magnet program in my high school. So that kind of helped me fall a little bit into the STEM techniques, but I did go to a public school. So college was a private college was a whole turnaround from public schooling to private schooling. But just having that little background from STEM from my high school has helped me go further into my STEM field in college. And I feel like Whittier has such a great STEM program with a lot of, like I was mentioning earlier, ASAP. So it has a lot of little programs here and there to guide you through STEM. So I went from being a lonely little freshman who felt so alone to having this big community and a lot of amazing people to help mentor me through STEM.
Whoops, sorry, I was muted. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the research that you've done with STEM?
Yeah, so with my immunology course, I actually got to do hands-on research by myself. I did have a partner at the beginning of the semester, but she had to drop the class for certain specific reasons. So I was alone in the research by myself. And something that I worked on was um, immunology cells, immune system cells, CML and JERCATs. I know those terms are probably not something that's going to be understood by everyone here, but I had to take care of those cells like they were my babies. Literally, I was in the lab 24/7. I would get to school maybe like 5 a.m. in the morning just to be in the lab doing my stuff before class. And what I was working on was trying to understand how tea actually supports your immune system. So I know a lot of us, when we're sick, we go to bed, and before bed we drink a cup of tea. When we wake up, we drink a cup of tea because tea makes us feel better. But I wanted to study if tea actually makes us feel better inside. And it's still an ongoing research project that I'm doing, and I'm using it for my senior STEM presentation for biology. But just a hands-on experience of like using all this advanced technology that I didn't even know exists. Like I know what a pipette is, I know what beakers were and everything, but then we had these further advanced machines that actually read all your data, and it's expensive equipment that's been bought through the college and donors. So it was pretty great to be able to work with such high advanced technology and at the same time be able to do something that I know further in the future I could probably advance and help the community understand like, hey, this is not good for you or this is good for you. And so far from what I've discovered, I've been using echinacea tea, which was mentioned to be supporting your immune system, and high dosages of it actually weaken your immune system. So if you drink echinacea tea, be careful.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for sharing that. That's so interesting. I definitely look forward to hearing more about your research on tea and how it affects us. So thank you for that, Alondra. Can you tell us, kind of shifting gears a little, can you tell us about a memorable experience that you have had at Whittier so far?
I think the best experience that I've ever had was my trip to Spain. Um, I was able to travel to Spain through the Global Poet Scholarship. So thank you for that. um, and yeah, just taking a trip outside the country it made me feel like all my dreams were real. You know, you read about these places, you see these places on the map, on the television, but you don't really know they're real until you're there. And I know like maybe a lot of us when we were little kids would say like, whoa, I want to see a castle, I want to live in a castle. So being there in Spain, I saw a lot of old castles that were sadly falling apart, but you could see some of the ruins left behind, like the Real Alcazar. It was a castle to two of the most recent kings that were when they were still kings in Spain. And it was a castle where I was just like, oh my God, I want to get lost here. I want to live here and just get lost here. It had sorry, I'm like stuttering. It had an enormous garden where you just I just wanted to run barefoot there with a very long dress and live like the fairy tale dream. But yeah, so for me, I don't know exactly what drew me to Spain. I think it was just speaking, like the fact that I speak Spanish and they speak another form of Spanish, another dialect. It kind of lured me into it. Like all my family would tell me, why not go to Paris? Why not go to France? Do this. I'm like, no, I want to go to Spain. That's my dream. I don't know exactly why it's my dream. But yeah, it was like I said, it was a total dream come true. Their culture just it's so colorful and vibrant over there. Um, most of the time it was the winter season. Well, it was the winter season over there, so most of the time it was cloudy or raining. We didn't get much rain till like the very last week that we were there, but it was like the best gloomy days I could ever see because there was just so much joy inside of me that the days did not feel gloomy. I think just my biggest fear was not getting lost or getting home on time with my host family because our host family, she was the kindest person ever and she lived on a schedule. So it was her and her daughter, and they were very nice people. They allowed us to have our very own rooms, whereas other group mates that went with us, they had to share a room. So we were very lucky in that aspect. And she, like I said, she lived on a schedule. So at 2 p.m., we had to be home ready for lunch. And we would all eat together like a big old family. So that was pretty cute because we would sit there and watch Wheel of Fortune, the Spain version of Wheel of Fortune. We would all just be like guessing what the word was while enjoying a nice family meal. And if I had to pick a favorite site in Spain, it would definitely be the Real Alcazar that I was talking about because it just makes you feel like you want to live there, literally. You want to live in an abandoned castle. And I did bring back a little bit of souvenirs. A lot of the souvenirs over there are too huge, and I had a big luggage already, big fat luggage to carry with me, so I couldn't fit bigger souvenirs. But I did go to Barcelona, and I had like this little magnet. I don't know if you could see it with the lighting. And then I had this one from Seville. So yeah, it was a fun adventure, and I'd totally do it again if I had to, if I wanted to too.
Nice. I love that. It does sound like a dream. I'm happy that you were able to do that with Whittier College. It's such a great part of your college experience now. What class did you say you took for the Jan term?
Oh yeah, sorry. I took a Spanish class. It was in the 300 levels. It was about the culture of Spain, which funny enough, we all thought we were gonna be learning about like the flamenco and like bull rides and everything, like bull fights and all that stuff. So we were all excited. And then the first day when the professor started talking, those professors from Spain started talking about the class. It turned out to be a history of Spain. So it was a little downer. Like, oh wow, I'm taking a history class instead of this amazing culture class that we were all imagining, you know. But it was actually pretty interesting to learn a different history besides the U.S. history because here you read textbooks and you learn little snippets here and there about how the U.S. was involved with all those little countries. So it's kind of interesting to see the other side of the story.
Nice. Well, it does sound like you just being in Spain was part of the cultural class experience. So I'm glad you got a little bit of both there. Going back to the college, do you have a favorite place to hang out at Whittier?
Yeah, I love hanging out at the lounge, the Edingar Lounge. Um, when I do have a break or a little free time, I'll go there and catch up with some of my friends, have a snack or a drink, and just forget about the homework and the classes and just relax, I also love going when I'm very, very tired. My buddy and I will go up to the third floor of the library, and there's a very comfortable couch where you just sink into it and you could doze off. And I have fallen asleep on that couch before, to the point where I have to tell my friend, like, if I fall asleep, wake me up in 10 minutes. Because it's weird. It looks like an old couch, but it's actually the most comfortable thing ever. So those are my two hangout.
Nice. It definitely seems like the consensus is that the spot at Indra Lounge is one of the best places for the students to hang out. So glad you're getting some time there, and also finding places to nap around campus. I'm sure students will need to take note on that. But also, we also want to know, how have things changed for you recently with this whole new way of living and learning? What has that looked like for you?
It definitely defied my expectations when I first heard we were going online. I was like, oh my God, I hate this. I'm gonna, like, just driving to school and being at school is a huge part of my day. It's a 8 to 5 p.m. type of thing. So taking that huge 8 to 5 p.m. routine out of my life was very hard to cope with. But now that I'm actually doing classes, I love that I get to wake up later because, like I mentioned earlier, I am a commuter. So I would be up by 6 a.m. getting ready for school, and at 7 a.m. on the car on my way to school. No later than 7 a.m. So now I get to wake up, like, the earliest I have to wake up is 8 a.m. So that's a very nice, like, change. I get to go to bed earlier because I have the whole day to do my homework, and I get to sleep in a bit more, which is something that my body really missed, sleeping. But a lot of professors have been very understanding of the situation, which is something I like. Some professors did enforce, like, no, this is our class time, we're going to do Zoom. But it's actually more like chill. It's a more chill system. Like, the professors aren't on top of everything. They're, like, they'll have a moment, like, to catch up with you. They'll talk with everyone in the class, and then, like, okay, let's get into our lecture today. So it's something I like, because when you go to class, like, okay, we have 1 hour and a half. That's how long my classes are usually. Let's do this. And I also like that some professors aren't enforcing the Zoom system. It's just like, here's your work. Just turn it in by this day. I do have a professor, though, that I was pretty mad at. So my art professor, she only had two papers assigned for the whole semester. And now I turn in 2 to 3 papers per week. So that was an increase in homework assignments, and I was pretty upset at that. I was like, what do you mean we went from 2 papers to 2 to 3 papers? But then when she explained the whole system, I was like, okay, makes sense. Our papers are only worth 20 points now instead of 100 points they were going to be worth. So it gives you more room for error. So yeah, I'm actually liking the system, but I would not want it for fall semester. That's for sure.
Definitely understandable, but I'm so glad that you've been able to kind of find the light in this situation, and just be able to adapt to what's expected of you, and also find ways to connect with your professors. I think that's really important. So I'm glad that you've been able to make the most out of this. What are you looking forward to most in the near future?
Well, as of right now, I'm looking forward to just being free from my house. Like, hopefully summer we have more of that flexibility to go around and enjoy summer. I did have a lot of summer plans that did get canceled, so I'm a little sad. But there's still one that's not canceled, so I'm really looking forward to that. But school-wise, I think I'm looking forward to graduating, and not because I don't like the college or something. I love it there. It's became my home. Like, I have people that I consider family there. Um, but just graduating and be able to have another degree on my plate, because just a high school diploma is not enough for me. So just being able to hold a bachelor's degree and keep furthering my education, it's something I'm really looking forward to.
Nice. And we're going to be so excited to cheer you on your graduation day. And there's just a couple of things I wanted to touch on near the end of this. You've kind of mentioned briefly throughout this conversation that you're a first-gen student. So I just kind of wanted to hear your thoughts. Like, what does that mean to you to be a first-generation student at Whittier?
So being a first generation, it's one part of the scary parts of college. You feel like all these things are being expected from you, from your family, and like you can't let your guard down or anything. You have to be on top of everything. I do have a little brother, so being like part of that first gen, I feel like I have to be motivating my brother at the same time that I'm doing this, inspiring him to keep going on to his education. Um, like I said, it feels hard to not have that support sometimes because people don't actually understand what you're going through. My dad did. My parents are immigrants, so my dad, well, not anymore, they're residents now, but they were. And my dad did go to college in Mexico, but it does not compare. And he didn't finish his degree due to personal reasons. But my dad, I think the one thing I could share with him about college so he'll actually understand is how much we don't like chemistry. Chemistry classes, we're bad at it. So it was the one thing that I was able to connect to my dad with, like our dislike of chemistry. But like I said, being first gen, it really feels like you have all these expectations, but very little support, and it's hard to find a balance where you want to keep going, and you have to motivate yourself in a way, like you have to keep motivating yourself by yourself. And like now, I talk to my brother, who's part of this like group with me, and I tell him like, don't do what I did. Keep learning from your mistakes, and don't let yourself bring yourself down, because now I'm here to support him, but I didn't really have a support telling me what to do in college. It was like, yeah, my parents are supportive. Like they'll tell me like, we're proud of you, we're little here and there, but it's not enough when they don't understand what college is. So being first gen, like I said, it's definitely very hard. But I am glad that I have people in the work offices in school who are there to support me and guide me and motivate me. Like it's thanks to everybody there in office or school and professors at Whittier that make me feel like I have a home and make me feel like I'm not really a first gen, like I'm part of the school. Like I'm not part of just one group, I'm part of everything. So yeah.
Oh, I absolutely love that, Alondra. I'm so glad that I know what it's like to be a first gen student. It definitely is hard. But I love that you're doing it, not just for yourself, but also to inspire your brother and hopefully continue a new tradition in your family. So thank you for sharing your story, Alondra. I'm glad that you've had communities at Whittier College that are just able to help you as well through your journey. So thank you again just for sharing all of that. And before we wrap up, I do just want to see if there are any questions for Alondra. I see that there are a couple already in our chat box. So if you want to start writing more questions from the audience, now is the perfect time to do that. But I see one from John. He says, Alondra, can you tell us about the professors who you have found to be most helpful or inspirational in your time at Whittier so far?
So mainly I stick to my bio and Spanish major. I don't really jump around other majors. So I think the most inspiring professors are Dr. Richon and Dr. Valenzuela. Dr. Valenzuela is actually my advisor, has been my advisor since day one. Funny story, when I signed up for classes my first before entering freshman year, you know how they hold this whole like session where like they hold groups of freshmen go register for classes. Dr. Valenzuela came up to me and he's like, um, what are you majoring in? What are you thinking of doing in the future? And I was like, I want to be pre-med. He's like, oh, let me help you. He set up the whole class schedule for me. I had no idea what was going on. And he signed me up for his introductory course. So I had no idea he did that. He just printed out the schedule. He's like, we're going to have so much fun these next 4 years. And yeah, Dr. Valenzuela is one of the persons where I could go into his office. And I've heard of friends who go into his office just to cry too. And I've gone to him to like complain about courses or sometimes other professors that we have. And he's there to just hold your hand throughout the whole way. He's very supportive, very understanding. He's also like the type of father that's pushy. So he's become like a dad to a lot of us, including me. So sometimes we joke around and call him, hi, dad, because he's just been that college dad for us. And with Dr. Vitrone, she's the reason why I want to go into like public health. she's the reason why I fell in love with research. So she's like my motivator to continue my education further. And it's great to have professors like that who push their students instead of trying to bring them down.
Love that. We also have a couple comments, but again, if there are any questions that anyone has for Alondra, please be sure to type them in our chat box. We have some comments. Jessica says, that class sounds helpful right about now. Eva says, Dr. Vitrone is an alumna too, class of 1998. Anna says she totally admires you. And we have another question from Eva. What have you learned about yourself that surprised you, and what was the name of the book you had mentioned earlier?
I've learned a lot about myself. Every year I learn something more about me. I think something that I struggled with a lot was confidence when I first entered school. And I always had this lack of confidence in me, to the point where I probably would have, if I were still this not confident person, I wouldn't be doing this session because I'm just so terrified of like public speaking and stuff like that. But I'm confident enough to do this now. And it's like I said, I work for an office in Whittier College, and people there have inspired me to become more confident, have helped me put myself out there and learn more from you guys, like the stories from them. So that's definitely something that surprised me, how much college can actually boost your confidence. And I think something more that I learned was how to be very independent, sorry, not dependent, independent. Simply just going to Spain by myself. Like, I'm very attached to my parents, like wherever they are, I am. And after coming back from this Spain trip, I was just, I'm not detached from them. I still love my parents. Not saying that I don't love them, but you learn to live on your own a bit. And like I was saying earlier, like being on your own in this road of being a first gen, it kind of teaches you to count on yourself, motivate yourself, and just be stronger. So definitely something that also surprised me was how strong I actually am. From thinking I was like this weak little individual to being this strong, creative like person who could do things on her own. And for the book, I actually have it right here. It's The World Could Be Otherwise by Norman Fisher. And it actually has like little teachings at the end of each chapter that you could practice. So like meditation, or like this week, try to cook more for yourself. This week, try to meditate more, try to get more sleep in. So it's little helpful things. And it's great reading for quarantine. So I recommend it.
Great. I love how that lined up for you. Having a book like that sounds just incredible right now. I'm going to have to order it ASAP. And it looks like we have a couple more comments for you, Alondra. Rachel says, thank you for choosing Whittier College. I am confident that you will succeed in everything you do. I love having you in our office, and we miss you. Aw. And Yvonne says, I love your story. It's so inspirational. So I think on that note, unless I see any more questions come through, I do just want to thank you again so much, Alondra, for your time here. And to our audience, Alondra, just like many of our students, is a scholarship recipient. Again, we're so fortunate just that we have so many of our alumni, parents, and friends who are able to support them and their success at Whittier. So to wrap up our session, Alondra, is there anything that you'd like to say to donors who support you and other Whittier students?
Yeah, so like Chelsea said, I am a JGWS recipient. So that's one of the biggest scholarships on campus. And thanks to that scholarship, I was able to go to my second choice, which now I love this. It's no longer a choice at all. It's the best decision ever. I also did receive the Global Poet Scholarship. So I was able to travel to Spain, and just being able to also use the research facilities, like all the donors that donated to the SLC. Like, wow, that's such a great building for me. That's my home. So I just want to say thank you, because thank you to all the donors. You guys are the reason why I'm able to have all this research experience, the reason why I was able to travel, the reason I was able to just go to Whittier College in general. So thank you for your support, and thank you for supporting other students like me. And I hope you guys continue supporting this amazing campus.
Thank you, Alondra. I'm so glad to hear all about your experience. So thank you again for just taking that time. And also thank you to all of our attendees for your support of our students. We really appreciate it. And I will just ask if you can join us next week for our next Meet a Poet Monday at 2 p.m. We will get to connect with another third-year student, Leslie Swedner. She is a junior at Whittier College and is majoring in music. During her time at Whittier, she has become a member of the Ionian Society and has participated in the Music Advisory Board and the String Ensemble. So we'll be sending out the next invitation soon, along with the recording of this video, so you can catch up or rehear all of Alondra's incredible experience here at Whittier. Leslie is also eager to connect with you next week and share her poet experience. So thank you again so much, and hope that you all have a great rest of your week. Thank you.